Chapter 741 Guess Who I Am. Tiandao Pain has 100% confidence that Bofeng Minato can't escape. Because he has already collected all the Flying Thunder God Kunai in Namikaze Minato. But who is Bofeng Minato? The name of the golden glitter is a joke. He actually disappeared again. This made Tiandao Pain completely unexpected, and he couldn't help but look, but he saw Namikaze Minato appeared behind Hungry Ghost Dao. With a single blow, even Nagato didn't have time to manipulate him to dodge, and was smashed to the ground by a spiral pill, completely damaged. Flying Thunder God Second Dan. Minato Namikaze said softly, and there was a string of black runes on the crippled limbs of the Hungry Ghost Dao. You can still rely on something other than the kunai to move. Nagato, who was manipulating behind him, felt a deep misunderstanding. But Namikaze Minato had already charged again, punched out, and Tiandao Pain dodged immediately. It's just that the feeling of hitting that came immediately made him widen his eyes again in disbelief. It's the Magic Frog team. How is it possible? I clearly. Tiandao Pain, whose face was slapped crookedly, drank in disbelief. He was hit by an invisible force. This is so weird. But Minato Namikaze didn't have the habit of revealing his skills, and rushed again. At the same time, he said in his heart, the 6 Pain's sight lines are all connected to each other, unless unexpectedly, they usually can't hit them. Among them, the Realm of Hell has a resurrection function, which is a bit tricky, and the Realm of Hungry Ghosts can absorb chakra, which is also very tricky. And this day, Pain, every skill seems to have a cooling time. The length is different, the greater the power, the longer the cooling time, generally 5 seconds. Super Almighty Push doesn't seem to be released at any time, there is some kind of limitation. During the battle just now, Minato Namikaze was also analyzing the information of Pen's 6 paths, and so far he has come to so many conclusions. After all, it is Minato Namaifeng, and a battle will almost analyze Pain's ability. Teacher Jiraiya, don't let the Realm of Hell escape, take the lead in solving the Realm of Hell, he has the ability to resurrect. While Minato Namikaze and Tendo Pain were fighting fiercely, he also shouted to Jiraiya. Understood. Although Jiraiya is not as good as Namikaze Minato's analysis, he also understands the reason why the abilities of Pen's 6 paths cooperate with each other. Breaking one by one is the ideal state. And now, Minato Namikaze has pointed out the best target for him to defeat one by one. Then what is he waiting for? Excellent analytical skills. Tiandao Pain's heart was extremely solemn, and Minato Namikaze could see that the key character of Pain's 6 realms was the Hell realm so quickly. It's terrifying, insight is terrifying. But now that he is being dragged by Minato Namaifeng, he can't open his body, so he can only hope that Xiaonan can protect the Hell realm. I won't let you succeed, Teacher Jiraiya. Xiaonan's own family knows his own affairs, of course he won't let Zilai do the same. Other places. Who the hell are you? After the hard battle, Xiaochun finally arrived. Although he is old and has lost a lot of skills, with the help of Mat Kai who has been supplemented with chakra, it is not a problem to fight against the 3 generations. And Kakashi got out and rushed to the masked man after being supplemented by Kushina's 9-tailed chakra. Solve this guy and the war is half won. Guess who I am, Kakashi Hatake, the hero of Konoha. The masked man seemed to have a completely insoluble resentment towards Kakashi. When facing Kakashi, he was extremely excited and angry. Even if Kakashi restores chakra, he still won't have the upper hand. Chapter 742 Shocking Power. Water Escape Water Surging. After Anmura Nobuomi quickly solved the target, Fujino Ray also suddenly released a terrifying attack. She directly created the turbulent flow of a huge lake and enveloped the 4-tailed man Zuli Laozi in it. This turbulent current seems to be able to roll the mountains, and the entire Konoha trembles. That's not all. When Laozi was fighting against the water flow, Fujino Ling patted the water flow with her seal again. Water escaped thousands of food prison. A large piece of huge and hideous fish suddenly swarmed out of the water, and sprinted towards Laozi. There are dangers in all directions, and it is extremely difficult to deal with Laozi, but more importantly, the more the fish are torn apart, the larger they will be. They can actually devour chakra. In the end, Laozi ran out of chakra and fell into a coma because of suffocation. The group of Konoha ninjas who saw this couldn't help but stunned, they were too powerful. The tailed orc Zuli is actually not their opponent. They quickly sealed Laozi to prevent him from resurrecting. On the other hand, Ma Kuro is here. Fire escape Great Entei. If Rei Fujino is the world of water, then Makuro is the world of flames. He held up a huge fireball and shrouded the six-tailed man Zuliu who had just broken free from the shackles. Roar! In the fireball, there was a roar of severe pain, and then completely disappeared. What a tricky guy, as expected of a tailed orc Zuli. Yugao's attack power is not strong, but his flexibility is very good, and his attack damage is also very strong. Because he is the only one with two-tailed beast forms. Therefore, even in the flame world of Ma Kuro, he wasted a lot of effort before defeating him. This is too powerful. Looking at the circles of flames shrinking back, the Konoha ninjas all felt their lips tremble. How strong are the three of Makuro to be able to defeat a bug-level enemy like the tail beastman Zuli so easily? Don't say it, in this overlay mode, it's really strong. Makuro stretched out his hand, and the mask disappeared. Although he didn't need a mask, he was able to grind slowly, and finally defeated the Rock Tails Zuri. But it must be the result of a lose-lose situation, and it may even be more serious for him. Instead of this, he just consumes a little more, but there is no result of injury. Was it really Shinmi who solved the battle first? As expected of the strongest. Looking at Nobuomi Yasunori who ripped apart the body of the outsider golem with a single blow, Asakuro let out a sigh. This woman has always been ahead of them with absolute strength. Let them only look up at her back, it's really excellent and despairing. Inexplicably, I think we are a little strong. Fujino Ling walked over, looking at Majoro and teasing. Didn't Mr. Shajirching say, we all have the strength to stand out in the ninja world, can he lie to us? Although Makuro said so, but the thoughts in his heart were the same as Fujino Rei. He had thought that they would be very powerful, but he never thought that they could be so powerful. It's a pity, the overlay mode can't be used often. Rei Fujino sighed like this, then looked at Makuro, rushed towards the corner, and flew away for the two of them. Speaking of which, they are quite related to these two. Have it been resolved, then it seems that we have to speed up. Sakajiro clasped his palms together and shouted, Thunderbolt, Thunder Punishment. In front of him, Nanao Renzuli, who was pinned to the ground by the thunder gun, was roaring and preparing to release his true body. Nanao Shigemin came out. But unfortunately, there is no such opportunity. Chapter 743 Invasion failed. Boom! A bucket of thunder and lightning fell wildly, illuminating Konoha. In the roar of pain, Nantaran Zuli was paralyzed and fainted, exuding an incomparably scorched smell. Roar! The outsider golem roared wildly, and his cracked body actually recovered. Moreover, a chakra-light cannon was shot at Anmura Nobuomi, but she was evaded by her avatar technique. Outlaw golem, that's it. But when the outsider golem attacked Anmura Nobuomi, Uzumaki Kushina had already manipulated a chain with a powerful seal to bind him. Roar! The outsider golem suddenly struggled, but the chains of Jushinai were not vegetarian, they were tightly bound, and the seal was slowly forming. Once it's sealed, it's over. Therefore, he struggled more violently, and a large number of the same chains appeared in his body, and he wanted to attack Kushina to force her to retreat. Can Kushina go back? Cannot. I finally tied the outsider golem, how could I let him go like this? If you let go, then you will have to pay a price to restrain him. But if you don't retreat, Kushina will die. Seeing that Kushina was about to be hit and die on the spot. The art of sealing, the art of Megara. Anmura Nobuomi appeared again, and threw out a huge scroll, wrapping the outsider golem. This scroll has a strong sealing power, and it actually makes the chains on the outsider golem wilt. Seeing this, a trace of pity flashed in the masked man's eyes. But he also knows that if Kushina seals this outlandish golem, he will never even think about summoning it again. Then, the power of the six-headed tailed beast in it is just a fuss. Therefore, he immediately released the psychic of the outer Dao golem. Ho! Ho! Finally got one. Kushina grinned Isho at Yasunami, grateful. Without the help of Nobume Anmura, she would have stopped cooking now. Is this the strength of Shajir-Ching's students? Even the tailed orc Zuli is not their opponent. Then, how terrifying his teacher's strength is. Seeing the tailed beastman Zuli being sealed one after another, the Konoha ninjas couldn't help but exclaimed in amazement. They all looked at Shajir-Ching at the same time. This man is so strong that people can't figure it out. This man is too powerful and terrifying. Even if he doesn't make a lot of shots, he can still make people feel his power. Looks like we're going to be better in the end, Pain. Namikaze Minato looked at Tiandao Pain in front of him with a little smugness in his expression. Since he figured out Tiandao Pain's routine, he has dealt with it much easier. There are Immortal Mode and Flying Thunder God, plus Spiral Pills. Even if it is Tiandao Pain, you have to be careful and careful. Namikaze Minato is really dangerous. HMPH, it's just relying on Thunder Ninja's peripheral vision, otherwise, it's impossible for you to rebel against God. Tiandao Pain snorted coldly when he heard the words. Things have reached the point where they can't do anything. If they don't retreat, they should be made dumplings by Konoha ninjas, and finally eliminated. PFF'd. Here in Yamato, his thousand-handed Buddha was finally defeated by Uchiha Itachi with Susanoo. As expected of Uchiha Itachi, I have studied with Shajir-Ching for a month, but it is different that he defeated this thousand-handed Buddha with one blow. Seeing the thousand-handed Buddha that was sealed into one of the two great artifacts of his Susanoo, the sake cutout sword, all the Konoha ninjas couldn't help but sigh again. Chapter 744 Very powerful. They found out that it seems that as long as the ninja has a relationship with Natsumi Young, it seems that the strength will be very strong. Nobuomi Yasunori and the others are like this, so is Itachi Uchiha. At the same time that the thousand-handed Buddha was sealed, the whirlpool face that parasitized Yamato and manipulated him to launch an attack was also sealed. Yamato lost the person being controlled and immediately fell unconscious. The form is developing more and more in a direction that is beneficial to Konoha. Asshole. Both Feijuan and Zhao are here, and they are about to be cornered by Ma Kuro and Fujino Ray. The cooperation of the two is not inferior to the combination of pig, deer and butterfly. One fire and one water, the horns are suspicious of life, and the heart has been damaged 3 times. Zhao Du has already had the intention of retreating, and if he fights again, he will die. The situation of Red Sand Scorpion and Deidara is also not very good. Because Sakanaro joined the Thunder Ninja, Deidara's situation became a little more difficult, and his Tuden was restrained by Lei Dun. Unless he fights to the death, he has no chance to gain the upper hand. And the Scorpion of the Red Sand can deal with Luo Sha alone. To be honest, it is comparable. Luo Sha, who has the limit of magnetic escape and blood, is almost the nemesis of the puppet master. And Luo Sha is very vigilant about the poison of the Red Sand Scorpion and the puppet technique, so the Red Sand Scorpion can't find any chance to hurt Luo Sha. Coupled with Tamari, and the support of the rampant Gaara, he can control the field, which is already quite good. Pain, retreat, the situation is dying, Xiaonan said at this time, proposing to retreat. Tiandao Pain was convinced. Immediately, an omnidirectional almighty push was released, bounced off all those who tried to chase, and disappeared with Pen 6 paths. In the flying section, the horns were completely swept into the ground, Deidara took away the Red Sand Scorpion, and Xiaonan turned into flying paper and dissipated. And the masked man disappeared into the vortex of space after leaving a sentence of, "Soon, we will meet again." Namikaze Minato did not pursue, because the Akatsuki organization also left them with an enemy, the 3 generations of Hokage. Moreover, with Konoha's current strength, he cannot pursue Akatsuki's organization. Water, Jiraiya, I'm giving you trouble. After being restrained, Sandai Hokage said with guilt on his face. Minato Namikaze sighed, let them disturb your peace. The 3 generations of Hokage said that they didn't care. Seeing Konoha's current achievements, he nodded gratified, and then met Shajirching's eyes with a pity on his expression. During the battle just now, he had learned everything from the mouths of the ninjas like Kaharu and Kakashi. But he couldn't say anything, he could only sigh. It's a pity that Danzo has fallen into the darkness. After sighing like this, the 3 generations of Hokage fell asleep in the ground again. How do you feel? Anmur Anabume and others returned to Shajirching after the war. Shajirching glanced at them and asked. Hey, very good. It turns out that we are already so strong. Makuro replied with a smile, and Fujino Ray also nodded. It's really powerful, it really makes people can't help relying on this kind of power. Nobumi Yasunori just said, yes, and disappeared, but Sakanuro and the others were quite excited. When I used to train with Natsumi Young, because my opponent was Natsumi Young, I didn't feel anything. But now that they are fighting, they know how powerful they are. Chapter 745 Eventful Autumn. What about you guys, how do you feel? Shamuyang asked again, looking at Katsutaro who still had lingering fears on their faces. Strong, so strong, I wish I could reach this level one day. Katsutaro's face was full of longing, and Muraisuke and Watashiro were also full of fighting intent. After watching Anmur Anabumi and the others' battles, they realized how far apart they are now. Cultivation hard, it won't take long for you to reach the same height. After he finished speaking, he said, hard work, to Xiao Yedao in the form of a dragon, and the latter left happily. The noisy Konoha has started the post-war recovery work. Naruto and the others also appeared from behind Shajirching, with varying degrees of horror on their faces. Such a powerful scene is still too shocking for them. Sasuke Uchiha looked at Shajirching, his eyes flashing, how strong is this man? If I can get his teaching, I will definitely become as strong as them. As he said that, he looked at Anmur Anobuomi and the others, and he was full of envy. Namikaze Minato came here at this time. He first looked at the daimyo and apologized to Isho. Daimyo-sama is shocked. Daming heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there is Shajirching guarding, there is no danger to life. Namikaze Minato thanked Shajirching again. Thanks to your help, Konoha can get out of the crisis. Shajirching looked at him and said, don't thank me, I'm just saving my employees in Konoha. However, what will happen next in the ninja world, I think you should know it too. Shajirching sighed and said in a slightly heavy tone, a huge storm is coming. Namikaze Minato nodded silently, and then sighed, it's an eventful autumn. Hearing this, Daimyo couldn't understand the dialogue they were playing like a riddle, and asked, you guys might as well make it clear, so that I can also be mentally prepared. Namikaze Minato, 5 Shadow Talks. Shajirching squinted his eyes, even the Ninja World War. 15 hours 31 minutes and 1 second. Cover 620 for 115ths. 31:01. Hearing Shajirching's words, the famous name of the Kingdom of Fire couldn't help taking a deep breath, and even Minato couldn't help but be surprised. Is it really so serious? Isn't it too exaggerated? They won't give up. For the tailed beasts, they have persistence beyond your imagination. If you don't believe me, just ask Orochimaru, and if you know why they collect tailed beasts, you'll know if what I said is exaggerated. Shajirching and the two looked at Orochimaru at the same time, causing Orochimaru's scalp to go numb. He smiled reluctantly and said, it is indeed possible to cause a war in the ninja world. The reason why the leader of Shao organization collects tailed beasts is to form tails. He believes that the root cause of the war in the ninja world is the uneven distribution of tailed beasts in each village. Quote. Having said that, Orochimaru licked his lips, but his eyes suddenly became amused. But there is another person in the Akatsuki organization. Collecting tailed beasts has a bigger purpose. After he finished speaking, he looked at Minato, and motioned him to guess who that person was. Minato Namikaze said uncertainly, the man in the vortex mask. The guy who started the Nine Tails Rebellion. Orochimaru Isho. Apparently, Namikaze Minato guessed it right. Chapter 746. Then only Ming grabs it. What's the purpose of Akatsuki's organization? Minato Namikaze asked in a rather serious tone. Orochimaru. Gathering the power of nine-tailed beasts seems to be able to achieve a new world. Then, he can take advantage of the situation to complete a new achievement. As for what, I only know so much. After listening to Orochimaru's words, Shajirching was also a little surprised. He thought that Orochimaru only knew about Pain's ways, but he didn't expect that he even knew what the masked man thought. He really underestimated Orochimaru. If there is nothing else, then I will leave first. This exam obviously cannot go on. Orochimaru intends to leave Konoha village, although Namikaze Minato also thinks Orochimaru is a dangerous person, but for now, he has no reason to stay Orochimaru. Because there is still a pile of mess in front of him. The representatives of the major forbearance villages have all died to varying degrees, and he needs to deal with the aftermath. And the result of this exam, he also needs to give these representatives an explanation. Especially when the 5 Shadows talks are coming up. 5 Shadow talks. Started by any shadow, the shadows of the 5 major ninja villages gather together to discuss major events in the ninja world. And now, he is obviously not the only one who wants to launch the 5 Shadows talk. There are also 4 generations of Fengying in Cheyenne village, Luo Sha. Shajirching, guarding the big name and a group of dignitaries, left first and set foot on the road back. However, Namikaze Minato invited Shajirching as the Hokage escort to participate in the 5 Shadows talks together. Shajirching did not refuse. The plot has changed, and he also wants to see what will happen in the future. Luo Sha will not return to Cheyenne village for the time being. Since the 5 Shadows talks are imminent, why not discuss everything in Konoha village, and then return to Cheyenne village when the dust settles? The storm, is it coming? It's coming so early. On the way back, Shajirching looked at the gloomy sky and thought so in her heart. What happened in Konoha's 64th year in the original book is now 5 years ahead of schedule. It really makes people have to sigh that the world is impermanent. Is it because my butterfly's wings are flapping too hard? Thinking of this, Shajirching couldn't help but laugh a little. 2 days later, the news that Konoha village's Chunin exam was invaded spread throughout the ninja world. At the same time, the appearance of the 6-tailed orc Zuli was also known to the ninja world. Yenian village, Union village, Wuin village, etc. The news of the disappearance of Zuli, who the ninja village wanted to hide, suddenly burst like a bubble, fragile. When the news was made public, they couldn't help being surprised by each other. If it weren't for the incident in Konoha village, they really didn't know that the tailed orc Zuli in the other side's village was also taken away. After knowing the news, they all couldn't sit still, and they all felt an unprecedented panic. Therefore, regarding the 5 Shadow talks jointly issued by Konoha and Cheyenne village, they went their separate ways without any hesitation. And when the 5 Shadows talks started, Shao organized. Since we can't do these things with our strength, we can only rely on other means. 0 Burial. The masked man appeared behind Tiandao Pain and said in a cold tone. Tiandao Pain, what other way? Masked man, war, Ming grab. Tiandao Pain squinted his eyes and was quite moved, but we don't have enough troops. Moreover, because of our operation this time, the 5 major ninja villages have been united, and our arrest task is even more difficult. Chapter 747 5 Shadow Talks. The masked man smiled. No, who said that we don't have enough troops? The reincarnation of dirty soil is not as simple as you think. Also, you imagined my Uchiha Madara too simply. He actually called himself Madara Uchiha. As if he knew that Tiandao Pain would not believe it, he brought Tiandao Pain to a place, and then pushed open the door. This is... Tiandao Pain's pupils shrank suddenly, and his tone was full of surprise. What unfolded in front of him was a spectacular scene. Countless Baiju was hung on an incomparably sturdy tree, exuding a powerful aura. And in the White Army, there is a figure whose whole body is covered in a crimson robe. Under his icy face, he could faintly see the snake-like vertical eyes that flashed past. How is it? Zero burial, this 100,000 white absolutes may make you feel at ease. There was countless pride in the masked man's tone, and Tiandao Pain squinted his eyes. Not enough, we need more powerful ninjas. The strength of the 5 ninja villages is not a joke, and Shajirqing, the enemy of the gods. Now, that's not enough troops at all. The masked man seemed to have expected Tiandao Pain to say this, so he took him to another place. After looking at the things in this place, Tiandao Pain immediately made up his mind to use warfare to achieve the goal. After Tiandao Pain left, the masked man went somewhere again, looking at the ragged old man in front of him who had no breath of life. His eyes showed infinite ridicule. Do you think you can control me by planting a spell on my heart? I'm so sorry, you may be miscalculating. But he didn't notice that not far behind him, when he said this, Ju's mouth flashed a hint of mockery. The 5 shadows talks, the location is far away in the Iron Country. This is what Mifune, the great name of the country of iron, requested, and the 5 great ninja villages have no objection. It is better to hold a meeting in this neutral country, and we can both rest assured. However, when I saw the lineup of Konoha village, the 3 major ninja villages except Sandian village couldn't help but startled. Hokage Guard, Shajirqing, Uzumaki Kushina. Lord Naruto has such a big face, that he can let the Thunder Ninja as his guard. Onogi, the 3rd generation of Tuakage of Iwayan village, said indifferently, the indescribable smell of vinegar. Compared to Namikaze Minato, the loess and black soil behind him have nothing to do with them. Power is only safe. It was invaded by Xiao's organization. The safety of people in Zuli is very important. Minato Namikaze spoke in a calm manner, and then said, I believe that everyone knows everything about Konoha village, and I also understand what happened in your village. There is no doubt. Minato Namikaze looked very serious. We have reached a critical juncture. The strength that the enemy has shown so far has the strength to crush any ninja village. My Konoha is also the same. If it weren't for Shajirqing and Shidai Fungying and others to help, my Konoha village would have been destroyed by now. We don't know how much strength the enemy has secretly not shown. So, I think it's time for us to join forces and eliminate the scourge of Akatsuki. Onogi sneered when he heard Minato Nika's, and even forced him to ask, if I remember correctly, how do I remember Orochimaru, the rebel in your village? He seems to be a member of Akatsuki's organization. Chapter 748 Who Can't Be Bullshit. What if this is a scene you played? Or, this is a complicity between you, the purpose is to unify the ninja world. The Danzo in your village has already set a precedent. He was so full of face that he almost didn't write 2 words, challenge. If I remember correctly, Deidara, an active member of the Akatsuki organization, seems to be a good apprentice of Lord Tsuchikage. According to the logic of Lord Toying, can we directly arrest you for treason and execute you directly? But it was the 4th generation Fungying Luasha who spoke up, and his expression was very bad. Humph. Oyemu's face turned black. It's really time for Luo Sha's demolition. Okay, why are you talking so much? Isn't it to discuss how to deal with the Xiao organization? What's the point of mocking each other? If you don't plan to negotiate, then leave the stage, Lord Toying. I don't have time to watch you wrangling with other shadows here. The most irritable Raikage is online, making Oyemu's face even darker. Okay, Xiao organization really needs us to pay attention. This organization is quite dangerous. The only woman who spoke was Terumi Mei, the 5th generation of Mizukage. Her charming face was full of solemnity. To be honest, I suspect that the 4th generation of Mizukage in our village once organized and manipulated for Akatsuki. As soon as these words came out, everyone except Shajir-Ching couldn't help being shocked. Being able to manipulate the shadow of a village is really no trivial matter. They all have a chill down their spines. So, it's time for us to unite. Having said this, Minato Namikaze glanced at Reikage and said, Your Excellency Reikage, in fact, you should bring your younger brother with you, after all. Reikage I interrupted Minato Namikaze and said confidently, Don't worry, I have hidden him in an absolute fortress, and it is impossible for the Akatsuki organization to find it. In this regard, Namikaze Minato can only choose to believe and pray. Otherwise, things will become more troublesome. After the episode just now, several shadows obviously realized the importance of the matter, especially after Mizukage Terumi Mei said those words. Negotiation begins. The first thing is to isolate the human column force. Gaara, Kushina, and Kurabi send heavy troops to protect them. But for this suggestion, Shajir-Ching put forward a different view. Rather than being isolated, it's better to take it with you. Both Kushina and Kurabi are quite powerful ninjas. Participating in the battle may bring more favorable effects. For Shajir-Ching's view, everyone's views do not agree. Kushina agrees very much. Let her be locked up, it is better to kill her. Luo Sha was a little worried. He was worried that Gaara stayed that far away alone. In his mind, Gaara is a beast, the kind that will violently hurt people at any time. And Raing is strongly opposed to let his brother who escaped join the battlefield. He thought about it. Let it go. Don't embarrass the ninja world. That's when 5 shadows had different ideas because of Shajir-Ching's words. From the middle of the conference room, a strange young man with short cyan hair and white skin emerged from the ground. And brought a surprising news. I'm very sorry, our Akatsuki organization took it away. Bastards, how dare you touch Rabbi? Lei Ying exploded in an instant, and grabbed the young man's neck directly, but he never wanted to use too much force, and before he could interrogate Kurabi's trace, he twisted the young man's neck. Chapter 749 Officially Declare War on You. At the same time, the masked man appeared in the seat behind everyone. You actually dare to appear in front of us. You are very courageous, masked man. Shajir-Ching looked at the masked man and showed a very kind smile. The masked man suddenly shivered. There was a thick look of fear in his eyes, and his body was tense. What do you want to say? Namikaze Minato looked at the masked man, his face even more unpleasant. For this man who was the culprit of the Nine Tails Rebellion, who almost killed his wife and son, he was full of murderous intentions. The masked man said calmly, I officially declare to you, either hand over the tailed beast or endure the war. Choose between the two. This news made the 5 shadows present at the scene couldn't help but be shocked. The 4th Ninja World War, are you really ready, masked man? When the war begins, it's no one's help. Will you be very sad if it exceeds your expectations? Shajir-Ching looked at the masked man playfully, which directly broke the atmosphere of the masked man. Humph. The masked man gave Shajir-Ching a very unhappy look. This man, he could never control, his rhythm was about to be deviated by him. Tail Orc Zuli, we can't give it up. Give up, Akatsuki. Minato Namikaze was the first to speak, joking, he and Kushina are both 9-tailed people, hand it over, how to hand it? Suicide is not an option. Namikaze Minato can't do such a stupid thing. That's right, give up. The next person who spoke was Luo Sha. How could it be so easy to hand over such important combat power as a tailed beast? Moreover, each more tailed beast in their hands, the more threatening they are. As long as the people present are not brainstorming, they will not choose to agree. It seems that you have chosen war. The masked man's eyes burst into a bright light, and shouted, Then I will officially declare war on you here, the 4th Ninja War has begun. After speaking, as if afraid of Shajirqing's actions, the masked man left quickly. It's really like you said, the war is on. For this result, Minato Namikaze was not so surprised, because Shajirqing had told him once before that he was already immune. Are we going to fight again? It's really a headache, Oyemu said with a very headache. The rest of them are also a little frowning. But since the war is coming, they can only temporarily let go of everything and unite. Let's form a coalition. Namikaze Minato made a suggestion, and the other four shadows have no objection. Then, let the old man and the warriors of the Iron Kingdom join in. This is a major event in the entire ninja world. How can this old man stay out of it? As the venue provider for the Five Shadows talks, Mifune also requested to join. After the Five Shadows thought about it, they agreed. In special moments, if you have more power, you will have more power. What a cunning guy, he escaped with his escape plan. Seeing the fact that Kurabi turned into octopus legs in front of him, Nagato felt like he was going to blow his lungs out. But an octopus leg is also an eight-tailed chakra, better than nothing. Then, there's only one last piece left. Our plan is half done. Tiandao Pain looked at all the members present, and he was also very embarrassed. After so many years, he has finally reached this stage. Chapter 750 Ninja World War, Start. Five Shadow Talks, the six responsible persons, negotiated, for a day, and finally came to the result. Form a coalition, a total of 55,000 people. Among them, Konoha Village sent 8,000 troops, Union Village and Yenian Village each sent 15,000 troops, Wuin Village 12,000, and Iron Country 5,000. Supreme Commander, the 4th Raikage Yayui Oi. General Staff, the 4th Hokage Wave Fung Minato. Staff, Nara Shikahisa, Azabui. The Commander-in-Chief of the Coalition Forces, Luasha, the 4th generation of Wind and Shadow. The Captain of the Daimyo Guard, Terumi Mei of the 5 generations Mizukage. The rest of the various team captains are also under discussion and confirmed. The new chapter of the ninja world has just begun. The Ninja World War is finally here. Shajirqing looked at the white snow outside the window, inexplicably a little sad. The beginning of the Ninja World War and the appearance of the Ten Tails means that he is not far away from leaving this world. Not to mention, it's really a bit reluctant when it's time to leave. Although he has made the corresponding preparations before leaving. As soon as the news of the Ninja World War came out, everyone in the entire ninja world began to be in danger. And the people who responded the most were naturally the rich and powerful. One by one, they all hurriedly searched for a place where they thought they were safe to hide. And the names of the 5 major ninja villages, all under the protection of the ninjas of their respective ninja villages, began to move towards the designated place. In the war years, these people are really just a symbol. The person who truly decides the fate of the ninja world has become a ninja. All the small forbearance villages, even more quickly close the village to seal off, strictly prohibit people from entering and leaving, for fear of being affected. The 5 major ninja villages also began to mobilize corresponding personnel, and the atmosphere was quite serious. Fortunately, now there are a large number of ninjas who have participated in wars in all major ninja villages, but there is no fear of war. The logistics of Konoha village, just leave it to the old lady, and make sure you have no worries in the frontline battle. After bedtime, Xiaochun personally undertook the material preparation work. Namikaze Minato also gave her the job with confidence. Having someone like her who has gone through 2 wars can relieve him a lot of pressure. The war is about to begin, are you nervous? Looking at Anmura Nobuomi and the others in front of him, Shajirqing asked. It's not just war, how can I be afraid? On the contrary, I'm so excited now. Kinosuke grinned Isho, trembling with excitement. The rest of the people have similar expressions. It's good to have such a mentality. However, we should not be careless. The intensity of the next war will be stronger than all previous wars. Even for you, you must be careful and careful. Hearing Shajir-Ching's really serious words, Keijisuke and the others also froze and put away their contempt. In Konoha village, the expedition team is gathering. All the young generation are on standby in their own villages, and the ninjas of Chunin and above will go out. Even so, it took Konoha to piece together for a while, and then he managed to put together 8,000 troops. No way, the Pen invasion caused them huge trauma. There are about 20% of the ninjas who are almost dragged out of the army. When they go to the battlefield, they are almost certain to die. But they have no other choice, they must go. After all, enemies don't stop fighting them just because they're injured. Chief Dr. Jasmine, you are still alive. When they saw that Jasmine, who should have died, actually appeared in front of them alive again, all the Konoha medical ninjas couldn't help being surprised. Chapter 751 Unleash Your Talents. When the ninja world was dying, the King of Hell put me back. Jasmine said jokingly, but it made a lot of medical ninjas feel a lot easier. In order to deal with this war, Jiraiya also specifically searched Tsunade back. With her in charge, Konoha's medical work is no problem. Her return has also brought back a lot of morale of the Konoha ninja. However, what amazes Minato Nami is that Jiraiya didn't know what method he had used to cure Tsunade's hyperphobia, allowing her to go to the battlefield again. However, when he saw the necklace on his son's neck, he was thoughtful. 6 huge forces gathered in the direction of Union Village, and shall organized here. I didn't expect you to have such a talent. Sure enough, it is right for you to be the manipulator behind this war. Only such a big stage can let you show your level, go. The masked man looked at the ordinary-looking man in front of him, but wearing the fiery red armor of the Sengoku period, the masked man's eyes revealed infinite surprises. Even if it's just a corpse, it exudes a terrifying coercion, making people palpitate. Are you really sure you can control this one? If something goes wrong, it will be bad. Even the masked man, no matter how many means he has prepared, he still feels a burst of sweat on his palms when facing the man in front of him. This guy's strength is really strong, he can't think of anyone who can fight against this guy. And the man beside him who hid his body in a robe showed his face, who was the pharmacist Dudu, who was not Orochimaru's follower. He pushed his eyes and said to himself, I used a special spell on him to limit his consciousness. Just 1/10 is enough to imprison all the tailed beasts except the 9-tailed for more than 10 minutes. Speaking of which, his eyes were full of scorching heat, even madness. These are the basis for Orochimaru-sama's development. If he came, I wouldn't have to bother me. But even so, as long as you use all your skills. Even this one, the god of ninjas, Senju Hashima. It can only be a sharp blade in our hands, let us drive it. Yes, this corpse that made the palms of the masked man sweat is the first Hokage, known as the god of ninjas, standing among the 1,000-handed pillars at the peak of the ninja world. In this way, I am even more confident. Shajir-Ching, your good days are over. The masked man's eyes flashed with a strong expression of hatred. On the road to Yinin village. Do, you actually chose to leave, it's really good. Orochimaru was caught off guard when the pharmacist left. Just the night before Pain's invasion, I don't know what the masked man said to him, but the pharmacist said goodbye to him. Orochimaru wanted to stop it, but was held back by the masked man's bizarre blurring ability, so he could only watch the pharmacist leave. But Yakushido, the elite he has cultivated for so long, has now been picked by the masked man, and Orochimaru is a depressing one. On the other side, Union Village. What, you said Kurabi didn't get caught, just escaped with an octopus tentacle instead of himself. 4 generations of Raing listened to the report given to him by his little secretary, and said with a look of surprise. Yes, Raikage-sama, His Excellency Kurabi is currently holding a concert in the village, you should stop him, the village is about to be disturbed by him. The 4th generation Raikage's personal secretary, Mabui, covered his forehead and said with a headache. Chapter 752 Ninja Allied Forces. Bastard, How dare you make me worry so much? You are dead. The fourth generation of Rakage directly burst out of the wall full of thunder and lightning, making Mabui helplessly shaking his head. The 662 wall. I really want to participate in this war. It's so boring to stay in the village. Naruto held his head, looked at the empty village, and said with a lonely face. Save some snacks, this kind of war is not something that people like us can intervene in. Let's wait for good news and wait for everyone to return. Sasuke Uchiha said indifferently, advising Naruto not to be impulsive, but the desire in his own eyes had already betrayed him. But why are Neji, Shikamaru and the two of them able to participate in the war? It's not fair, isn't everyone just graduated from Shamanen? Naruto said with a look of angry, very dissatisfied. When you have the ability and awareness to be on your own, you can go to the battlefield. Naruto, you still have a long way to go, don't worry, take your time. Shikamaru and Neji already possessed this ability in advance, so they were specially approved to join the war. A gentle voice came, but a Chunin with a scar on his nose came over. Seeing this Chunin, Naruto looked excited. Iruka-sensei, why are you here, aren't you on the battlefield? I'm going to leave soon. I see you are complaining, so come and have a look. Iruka touched Naruto's head and instructed, Naruto, the children of the village, I will leave it to you, protect they are also a credit. Quote. Hearing Iruka's words, Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up, really? That's great. Iruka glanced at the others again, all of them were gentle with Isho, and then left. Ninja United Army Station. 65,000 troops, gathered together. But obviously, it is impossible for people who used to be enemies to each other and have deep hatred for each other to reunite like this and become close partners. After a while, there was friction and contradiction between them. Then, it rose to the level of hands-on. Although they are restricted by regulations and cannot use sword ninjutsu, even if the ninjas do not use these, they are far beyond ordinary people. As a result, 65,000 people suddenly became a mess, and the sky was boiling. What, want to fight? At this moment, a cold voice with unimaginable majesty and killing intent, like thunder, exploded in everyone's head, causing them all to shudder. All of them instantly felt a palpitation and panic that they had never had before, which made them stop involuntarily. Seeing Shajir-Ching looking at them indifferently, they didn't dare to look at each other. Behind Shajir-Ching, Nika's Minato and other shadows lined up. Sure enough, these things have to be left to Shajir-Ching. He is a professional in this field. Looking at the silent battlefield in an instant, Minato Namikaze and the others couldn't help but sigh. But the next thing is up to you. At this time, Shajir-Ching looked at Minato Namaifung, indicating that it was time for him to play. Namikaze Minato didn't back down, so he said the same set of rhetoric of Gaara in the original book, in a similar form. Let the ninja allied forces fully realize the seriousness of the matter, the inevitability and importance of uniting. Chapter 753 Going. Ninja Allied Forces. Namikaze Minato was originally a high-ranking person with a great affinity, but now he tells it from the bottom of his heart. Everyone was also infected by his language and emotions, so they recognized him unknowingly. After Minatoman's speech, they understood. If they are not united, their friends, family, and brothers will all become the captives of the enemy. When they think of that kind of fate, they don't want to think about it. Therefore, if you do not want such consequences, then there is only one road before them. Going. Going. Going again. Namikaze Minato said emotionally, please help me, fight against the enemy that is about to come, and help me protect the peace of the ninja world. As he spoke, he bowed deeply to the crowd. There is no grudge between the two who understand each other, and there is no enemy here and now. Because everyone bears the hope and burden of peace, we should all work hard for it. Speaking of this, Minato Namika clenched his fists. At this time and place, there are no 5 major ninja villages, some are just our comrades in the Ninja World Alliance. Then, He pierced his heart and said, "If you are still unwilling to forgive Konoha for the hurt that Konoha has done to you, then I will let you deal with it after the war, and I can cut off my head. I will never resist." Quiet. The entire square was instantly quiet, and everyone looked at Minato Namikaze in shock, terrified by what he said. Then, there is the deep emotion. Dare not to serve your life, Mizuno-sama. Look, in just a short while, the ninja allied forces completely recognized Minato Ninja. Their voices broke through the sky and reached the sky, rumbled and trembled for tens of thousands of meters in a radius of tens of thousands of meters. It may be hundreds of years in the past and hundreds of years in the future, and there will be no such spectacular scene today. So, everyone, going. With a single order, the Ninja World Alliance officially became one. Amazing, as expected of Namikaze Minato, he really has the ability to subvert the ninja world. Onogi, the 4 generations of Reikage looked at Namikaze Minato in shock and said. Luo Sha nodded in agreement. Afterwards, the army set out, and the whole army was divided into 4 parts: combat troops, perception troops, medical troops, and intelligence troops. Among them, the combat troops have the largest number, a total of 50,000. Therefore, it was also divided into 5 brigades. The first unit is mainly engaged in mid-range combat and is good at using ninja tools. The second unit is the one who fights in close quarters and is the frontline team. The third unit is mainly for short and medium distance support, and those who are not physically fit cannot enter. The fourth unit is mainly responsible for long-distance operations, and is responsible for closely cooperating with the intelligence unit and supporting the front line. At the same time, it protects the rear support troops. The fifth unit is good at special ninjutsu and attack methods. It's just that Shajirching didn't hold any important positions, but instead became the captain of the medical force. What does he want to do? Anamu looked at Shajirching, who squinted and led a group of medical ninja going, and couldn't understand his mind. Not to mention him, even Jiraiya and Minato Namikaze didn't understand Shajirching's thoughts. The medical force is divided into 2 brigades. For the first team, Tsunade is the captain, Chiyo's mother-in-law is the vice-captain, and Kato Mutsu is the captain's adjutant. For the first team, Shajirching was the captain, and Jasmine was the vice-captain. For the first person in the ninja world to go to the medical team, this is beyond everyone's expectations. Chapter 754 The Strong Heritage of Konoha Village. After all, according to their ideas, shouldn't a strong man like Shajirching join the front line? However, if you don't understand it, everyone will not guess. Anyway, with Shajirching's ability, it doesn't take long to rush from the rear to the front line. The arrangement of other units. The perception unit is captained by Yamanaka Kai, and the intelligence department is captained by Nara Shikahisa. As for the Battle Dalian team, the captain of the 50,000-person team, and the captain of the 5th company, the 4th Hokage Naruto Fung Minato himself served as the captain. 1st Company Captain, Nobumi Yasunori. Rei Fujino and Makuro are also among them. 2nd Company Captain, Jiraiya. With him leading into the front line, it would be great. Captain of the 3rd Company, Uchiha Tomatake. Among the team members are Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. 4th Company Captain, Lois. Most of the team members are members of Iwa Hidden Village. From this personnel arrangement, you can see some clues. How terrifying the background of Konoha Village is. Except for a vice-captain of the medical team and the captain of the 4th Company, the rest of the leadership positions are all from Konoha Village. It is no exaggeration to say that the Ninja World Alliance is the ninja of Konoha Village. In this regard, although the 4 great ninja villages have the intention to change, there is no way to change it. Who made the talents of Konoha Village? There are so many, so excellent. They are totally inferior. If at other times, they could shirk the blame, but now, under the surveillance of the fierce tiger Shajirching, and facing the declaration of war by the Shao organization, how could anyone dare to make trouble? Fortunately, although they almost didn't get the captain, but when the deputy captain was selected, each of them had a place in the ninja village. This is not only for one person to dominate, to create balance, but also to make decisions more reasonable, fast and effective. Moreover, in the event of the captain's death, the vice-captain can quickly lead the entire team and reduce confusion. This kind of personnel arrangement is really a lot different from the original. Shajirching sat on the head of the psychic beast Yi, looking at a group of ninjas running fast beside him, thinking like this. In the original book, the 5 captains are Gaara, Kakashi, Darui, Lois, and Mifune. But now, except for one Lois, the rest have no names. And when Shajirching was thinking like this, Minato Nikas, who was running at the forefront of the team, understood why Shajirching wanted to be the captain of the medical team. There, he is going directly to the front line. Also, in this way, it doesn't matter whether he is on the front line or not. With him here, the improvement of our morale is outstanding. On the contrary, the blow to the enemy is quite big. Just as Minato Namikaze thought, when he saw Minato Namikaze, the 2 bosses of Shajirching actually came to the front line and wanted to fight with them. The 50,000 people who fought against the Dalian team were also excited. With these 2 big men sitting in the town, it is really reassuring. And when they rushed to the front line, Xiao organized here, and the relevant personnel who participated in the war were also preparing. 100,000 Baiju is just an appetizer. Ninja coalition forces, prepare yourself mentally, these people are your real despair. The masked man looked at the corpses in front of him with an extremely ferocious look, and his eyes were full of excitement. In front of him, there are a group of strong corpses standing scattered. It exudes a very strong atmosphere. Chapter 755 Reincarnated Powerhouses. In the first row, the predecessors Zuli, 2-tailed Yukito, 3-tailed Yakura, 4-tailed Laozi, 5-tailed Han, 6-tailed Yugao, and 7-tailed Fufu. The second row, the previous 5 shadows, the second generation of Tsuchikage, the second generation of Mizukage Ghost Lantern, the second generation of Hokage, Senju Tobarama, the third generation of Reikage Ai, the third generation of Naruto Sarutobi, and the third generation of Kazekage. The third row, Special Battle Ninjas, Shimura Danzo, Mito Gate Yan, Sanshoyu Hanzo, Kato Duan, Bakugo Hunter, Burning Escape Hagura. In the fourth row, there are 7 people from the previous generation of ninja swords in Wuin village. And the god of ninjas who is placed in the most conspicuous position of the masked man, the first Hokage with the powerful strength to calm down the chaotic world, Senju Hashima. Humph, if you want to see this one, you must be extremely frightened. I really want to see your desperate expressions. The masked man said with great excitement, his body trembled with excitement. If someone lifts Tan's mask, he will find that his face is flushed with excitement. Kakashi, Konoha, and this world, feel the despair I once felt. It was you who killed Rin. Today, I will return this despair to you. When he talked about this, there was always hatred in his eyes. The enemy always comes just so suddenly. Just when the Battle Dalian team went to their respective positions according to the deployment, before they had time to settle down, they opened their defense line and prevented the enemy from breaking through the defense line, but the enemy had already arrived. Art as explosion. The 5th Special Unit led by Minato Namikaze had just entered the jungle, and the moment he was about to open the defense line, the air attack from Deidara had already arrived. Boom bang bang. The entire jungle suddenly became a paradise of explosions, and everyone fled away. Be careful of the red sand scorpion, this guy Deidara won't act alone. One of the 7 people in the summer, the not-so-well-known Drift Dao. What? When the crowd heard his words, they couldn't help but be shocked. Before they could react, screams came from behind. Ah! In the smoke and dust I saw, a long tail whip came, and some ninja shouted, "No, this attack is poisonous." Then, with a scream, he fell to the ground in a coma. Terra, save people. Seeing this scene, Drift immediately shouted, "Clouds escape, the depths of clouds." As soon as he saw a black cloud of lead floating beside him, the entire team was guarded. And that person called Cha Luo is naturally the last member of the Summer Seven. He waved his hand. Dottin, Blue Sky Gate. Then, a door of space appeared behind all the injured people, wrapping them in so as not to be injured again. Bang! Just when they finished all this, there was another sound of gold and iron hitting each other around everyone. The tail whip I saw wanted to attack others, but was blocked by the lead cloud released by drift. Good job, let's fight back too. Namikaze Minato couldn't help shouting at this scene. Then, he listened to him and said, the enemy riding a bird in the sky has the ability to detonate clay bombs. The bombs can be big or small, the bigger the volume, the greater the power. Be careful of his micromolecular bomb, it's a bizarre trick enough to destroy corpses. And we must prevent him from self-destructing, the power is enough to destroy a city, please ask the brothers of the Uchiha clan and the Hinata clan to monitor him. Chapter 756 Unprecedented Formidable Enemy. The owner of this tail whip is the Scorpion of the Red Sand, which has the Crimson Scorpion, the puppets of the 3 generations of Fengnian people, and 100 puppets with the ability to slaughter the country. All his attacks are highly poisonous. I will cooperate with my teammates, Cha Luo, to minimize the number of people who are hit. And those who are recruited will immediately be sent to the rear for rescue through their abilities. As soon as these words came out, the people of the 5th team were directly excited, shouting long live. Even Namikaze Minato had to sigh with emotion, it was so reassuring to have such a teammate, why can't he win? Cut, have you figured out the details? It's really annoying. Deidara pouted, her face full of displeasure. Everyone, it's time for us to fight back. Minato Namikaze gave an order and rushed to the front line against the Red Sand Scorpion, and Deidara, he handed it over to his most trusted subordinate, Kakashi. Lei Dun Ninja Master Attack, Lei Dun restrains Deidara. Kakashi also knows some details of Deidara, so he leads the Thunder Ninja to reduce the damage caused by Deidara's attacks. Ah, bastard, totally restrained. This scene made Deidara extremely unhappy, and he felt that he was completely targeted. Don't you feel a pain in your head when you are wandering in the sky? Calm down. Biao's eyes flashed, and after the seal was formed, he pointed to the sky and shouted, clouds escape, thunder and rain. In an instant, in a rumbling sound, Deidara's head instantly turned into a pitch-black thundercloud, and among them, there were thunder snakes shouting and dancing. Deidara's expression changed suddenly, and he hurriedly avoided. One after another thunderous thunder rumbled down, accompanied by a violent rainstorm, making Deidara a worrisome. Great. Looking at this scene, Ringo Yuli, the owner of Lei Dahlia in the team and one of the 7 members of the Ninja Blade, watched this scene and couldn't help but exclaimed in amazement. Your Excellency Ringo Yuri, might as well join forces to shoot him down, how? It was only when Fao saw Ringo Yuli who was holding the Thunder Blade in the crowd, he was surprised and hurriedly invited him out. Listening to the drifting words, Ringo Yuli suddenly showed a very happy look, it's exactly what I want. Then, with a wave of her hand, she blasted a violent thunderbolt into the thundercloud. Then, with the technique of professionally controlling thunder and lightning, with more intensive thunder and lightning, Deidara, who was forced to dodge even more embarrassedly. On the other hand, drift strengthened the control of the rainstorm, and Deidara who was drenched in the rain became a jerk, which made him scream, extremely excited. And Kakashi, with the 2 of them, turned Deidara's sporadic explosive clay into duds. Deidara's side has been forced into a disadvantage. The Red Sand Scorpion is already a little stretched. In the face of Namikaze Minato, the fastest speed in the ninja world, in just 2 minutes, Fei Liuhu was planted by him with the Flying Thunder God's curse, and then he was destroyed. When escaping from Fei Liuhu, he was almost strangled by Cha Luo with the Gate of Space, and only escaped with a sand substitute. As expected of the 4th Hokage, the Red Sand Scorpion felt the strong pressure, so he used the second scroll, and the 3 generations of Fengnian people came. The other side. The first company led by Nobuomi Yasunori was in charge of the riverbank that Darui was in charge of in the original book. Among the enemies in front of her, unsurprisingly, there just happened to be Feijuan and Jiaodu. At the same time, there are also a few people Anmura Nobuomi and the others didn't expect. Legend has it that he killed the two brothers, the two golden and silver horns of the second Hokage Senju Tobarama, Mito Gate Yan, Shimura Danzo and other powerhouses. On the other side, Ma Kuro even saw once again the tailed beast Manzuli who had already been defeated by them once again. 4 tails, 7 tails, 5 tails. Hey, this is too cheating, this lineup is a little too strong. Ma Kuro and Fujino Ray looked at each other and both showed wry smiles. Throwing away these people doesn't count. Those who continue to land from the sea and drive straight into the country of iron, and the Baiju army that can finally enter the country of fire through Yinan village, is enough for their ninja coalition to have a drink. The pot is up. Not to mention that in the middle of it, he also saw a person who could make their scalp tingle, the second Hokage, Senju Tobarama. This is a man whose whole body is covered with forbidden techniques except under the water escape. Why, second Hokage-sama appeared here? A group of Konoha ninjas really want to ask this question. But looking at the second-generation Hokage like a cold-killing machine, they felt that they could not get the answers they wanted from the mouth of Senju Tobarama. What a terrifying war. It's tingling. Orochimaru is actually here, and with such emotion, Junmaru has a serious expression beside him. Behind him, the 4 people of Yin and Nin are waiting in battle. Orochimaru-sama, do you really want to join the war? Junmaru asked. Looking at the fiery scene of the battle, he was quite moved. Hehe, I promise that man's conditions, so naturally I can't violate the agreement. Orochimaru licked her lips, her eyes glowing with fiery light. There are not many opportunities to obtain research corpses without being so secretive. Besides, I am very interested in Shirai. Besides, he has cured your bloodstained disease. This favor has to be repaid. It is not a good thing to owe him favor. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Junmaru's eyes could not help showing admiration. He is really strong in terms of healing. When he thinks that the bloodstained disease that has plagued him for many years has been cured by Shajar Ching, and he can guarantee that it will not recur for more than 20 years, he has a feeling of living in a dream. I didn't expect that this guy has reached such a level that even the second Hokage is just his doll. Orochimaru sees Nobuomi Yasunori winking at him and telling him to deal with the second Hokage. Although his scalp is a little numb, he also wants to see how far Yakushido's filthy reincarnation is. So, he rushed towards the second Hokage. And the 3 of Anmura Nobuomi rushed to the 3 pillars and went away. According to the normal development, Darui led a group of members of Union Village, and with the support of Aoba, the mountain city of Konoha Village, and Gecko Gale, they dealt with the Golden Horn and the Silver Horn. Kakato Hidan and the 2 of them were greeted by Sarutobi Asma, Man Demon, and Loquat Juzo. The rest of the ninja army, such as Katsutaro III, Sandian Village Tamari, and Konkuro 2 siblings, were led by the only well-known Jonin, Yuhi Hong, who blocked the attacking Shirai army. Jiraiya, the second company is here. This lineup really makes my scalp tingle. No wonder I have the confidence to wage war against the entire ninja world, and the Akatsuki organization is quite prepared. Looking at these enemies appearing in front of them in the desert in front of them, even Jirai can't help but feel a little scalp numb. Chapter 757 Thousands of Hands. The previous generation of shadows, join us. The second generation of Soil Shadow, the second generation of Water Shadow Ghost Lights and Magic Moon, the third generation of Naruto Sarutobi Horizon, the third generation of Raikage Eye, the third generation of Kazekage. The enemy of the 5 shadows is not enough, the most important thing is that there are other ninjas behind him. They are the former enemies of Barakuma, Kato Dan, and even Sanshoyu Hanzo. And a group of various ninja armies who once sacrificed in the ninja war. Seeing so many enemies, the 2 brothers Hyuga and Hazu behind Jiraiya, Dingza Chu Dao, and the others couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Even though Onogi, Luo Sha, Kushina and other powerful ninjas were in the team, they still felt a deep pressure. They have no advantage in military force. And now, there are so many strong men in the enemy, so that they are completely inferior in terms of quantity and quality of troops. Do these guys know that Kushina is in the team? They sent such a powerful force to snatch the 9 tails. Jiraiya's eyes swept over the 3 generations of Hokage and others, quite dignified. But if the appearance of people like the 3 generations of Hokage just makes them feel dignified, then the person who appears next will make them feel hopeless. How is it possible? Just kidding. This one, why is he here? Did I look good? Looking at this man with long hair fluttering, with a determined face, wearing a suit of red armor, walking on wooden shoes, and carrying a large scroll behind him. Everyone who knew him felt a deep chill. They feel as if the day is about to fall. Even if they were watched by that man Vivi, they still felt a chill all over their body and couldn't help trembling. Senju Hashima-sama, why are you here? Jiraiya also made an unbelievable voice, only to feel that his throat was so dry. In front of this person, Jiraiya also felt that their military strength was a bit unattractive. What, the first Hokage? A group of people who didn't know Chinchujuma heard Jiraiya's words and couldn't help but be shocked. Hey, true or false, is that really the first Hokage? Some people can't speak at all, and their faces are pale. These people, more or less, have heard of some legends among the 1,000 Hands. But it is precisely because I have heard of it that I know how terrifying this man is. To calm down the troubled world, suppress the tailed beast, and the contemporaries of the suppression can't lift their heads, and are called the man of God. This kind of strength, they can't think of anyone who can fight against it. But of course, there are also about half of the ninjas who have no intuitive understanding of the horror of Senju Hashirama. You won't know until you hit it. Their optimism has somewhat restored morale. But just when Jiraiya was about to pass back the story of Senju Hashirama's appearance on the battlefield, something that made his heart sink. All the intelligence personnel responsible for liaison, the informants, were all assassinated. At the moment when they were shocked by the appearance of Chinchujujian, Xiao organized the action, extremely fast and fierce. He was killed without giving everyone a chance to resist. Jiraiya didn't even know who killed the intelligence personnel under his eyes and nose, the perception personnel. After these people were killed, they undoubtedly became blind and deaf in an instant, and completely lost contact with the headquarters and other teams. This is not good news. Zilai also gave a wry smile, feeling that an unprecedented challenge had come. 9 tails, he's shaking. Kushina's sudden whispered words made the hearts of Jiraiya and the others sink even more. What is the existence of 9 tails, a super dangerous life form that destroys the sky and destroys the earth, but now, he is actually shaking. The prestige of the first generation is well deserved. Jiraiya thought in his heart, and the enemy had already launched an attack. Now, there is no way out, only to rush. Maybe there is still a chance. I believe that the headquarters also knows about our disconnection now, and they should send rescue. As long as we can persist until that man comes over, maybe everyone can survive. Zilai also gave a speech and made the final mobilization. Oh. Of course, everyone understands that things have come to the last minute, and there is no way out. So, they can only go now. Allied headquarters. Lu Ju, the intelligence personnel and perception personnel of the second team of the coalition battle Dalian team suddenly disappeared. Yamanaka Kaiichi suddenly reported the sound, which surprised Shikahisa Nara and the Sidai Reikage. No, there must be an accident, otherwise, it is impossible to lose news at the same time. Nara Shikahisa reacted immediately, we need to dispatch a team to support quickly. He then asked the perception unit, which team is closest to the second team now? It's the medical unit where Captain Shajirching belongs. But the medical team gave such an answer. Nara Shikahisa couldn't help pondering when he heard the words, whether to use Shajirching or not, this matter needs to be carefully considered. But it's not that he is worried about Shajirching doing something outrageous, but Shajirching is their last trump card. It's too early to play the trump card at this time. Seeing this, Lei Ying couldn't help frowning and asked, "Who else is nearer?" The Perception Force replied, "Captain Lois of the 4th Team." Hearing this, he immediately issued an order, "Immediately ask for help from the army where the Lois is located." "No, I'm afraid not." But Shikahisa Nara blocked his suggestion. Facing Rai Ying's questioning, he smiled bitterly, "Captain Yellow Earth is facing the 40,000 Baiju army, and he can't escape." 4th Raikage. Damn. He hammered the table heavily. If it wasn't for the fact that he still needed to be in the center, he really wanted to say that he would support it. The atmosphere at the scene couldn't help but get impatient, and several people couldn't help but frown, but they couldn't do anything. Chio Sandano, the consultant of Sandian Village, sent a message from Izang, saying that he can go to support. At this time, Yamanaka Kaiichi suddenly made a sound, and the eyes of Nara Shikahisa and the 4th Raikage suddenly lit up. Precise. Nara Shikahisa and the 4th Raikage speak out at the same time. There are Tsunade and Kato mute where Sandy Chio is standing, it's not bad. Finally, ask Shajirching for help. Facing Lei Ying's puzzled eyes, he said, "I'm a little uneasy, and I think something must have happened, Lord Jiraiya." The 4th Raikage watched Nara Shikaku for a long time, and after his secretary Azabui also nodded, the 4th Raikage also agreed. Chapter 758 Overwhelming Strength. The guy who was organized by Xiao, put it together. Looking at the map of the deployment of the enemy and our troops, Nara Shikahisa couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He had thought that the Xiao organization would choose the coastline where the 1st Brigade was located, and the mountains of the 4th Brigade as a breakthrough point, and it was indeed the case with their military deployment. The location of the 1st Brigade, the 2nd generation Hokage Senju Tobarama, 3-tailed orcs Zuli, plus 2 members of the Akatsuki organization. As well as the Golden and Silverhorn brothers, as well as the 20,000 Baiju army, no matter how you look at it, they are already quite strong. 4th Brigade, 7 ninja swordsmen, 40,000 Baiju army. Powerful disappointment. No matter how you look at it, their breakthrough is also on this. However, he never expected that the breakthrough of Xiao's organization would be placed directly on the front line, on the most powerful team in this team. Jiraiya, Tsuchikage, Kazekage, Kushina, as well as Sakanuro, Kinosuke, plus Matekai, Hyuga Hazu such powerful ninja assistants, and Karayan Village's ace dry persimmon ghost shark. No matter how you look at it, this unit should not be targeted. But the organization did just that. Sure enough, the goal was Gaara from the beginning. But, what kind of confidence did they have? Nara Shikahisa was very curious. Looking at the battle strength of the 2nd Brigade finally presented by the Perception Force, even though there are 8 or 9 strong auras on the enemy's side, their coalition forces are not at all disadvantaged. What kind of confidence did they rely on to take away the strength of Gaara? But if you send Shajirching over, you must be prepared. Although I didn't guess where the strength of Xiao's organization came from, there is no doubt that with Shajirching here, the situation should be under control. If he knew that the reason why Akatsuki killed the perception and intelligence troops was to keep the information of the 1st Hokage from leaking, he would probably be very fortunate to ask Shajirching for help. Akatsuki organizes the hinterland, in a certain cave. Oh, I didn't expect Konoha and these people to have the courage to send out such dangerous people as Natsumi Young. But it doesn't matter, what about sending it out? Before they arrive, the tail beast capture plan is completed. Lord Hokage, show your strength. The pharmacist grinned and revealed an extremely cold smile. Orochimaru-sama, have you seen it? My research results. This level is almost the same as yours, and I will definitely give you more help in the future. His eyes were full of fanaticism. If Orochimaru knew what he was thinking, he would probably smile wryly. The pharmacist pocket is completely better than the blue. At least in the aspect of reincarnation, he is stronger than Orochimaru. Even Orochimaru didn't reach his heights. And when Orochimaru smiled bitterly, Jiraiya and the others were completely desperate. Senju Hashirama, resurrected. Allied headquarters. How is it possible? This amount of chakra, does it really exist? The perception ninja suddenly screamed in horror, making Shikahisa Nara and the others all look at the perception map. I saw a chakra light group several times larger than Jiraiya and the others, appearing on the battlefield where Jiraiya and the others were. Gulu, this is even more terrifying than the nine-tailed chakra. This kind of pressure is simply suffocating. There is absolutely no comparable amount of chakra in the world. The two perceptive ninjas were sweating profusely and said that this amount of chakra gave them enormous pressure. Even Shajirching can't compare with it, so this chakra, could it be? Nara Shikahisa's heart skipped a beat, and a name suddenly popped up in his head. Thinking that the enemy will be reincarnated from the dirt, and even 3 generations of Hokage have appeared, then, that existence is also possible. The first Hokage. Apart from this name, Nara Shikahisa can't think of any other name. The appearance of the first Hokage was not in their plan at all, and they did not expect that this person would appear on the battlefield. Nara Shikahisa only felt cold hands and feet. In front of the absolute powerhouse, he felt that his strategy was too pale and powerless. Hey, true or false? Why is this person being controlled? Shajirching, who was rushing to Jiraiya, also suddenly sensed the terrifying amount of chakra in Chinshujujian, and couldn't help being a little shocked. Shouldn't it be Madara Uchiha who came out? Shajirching couldn't figure it out, but he understood it immediately after thinking about it. The plot of this world has long been disturbed by him. In this case, it is not necessarily that the masked man discovers Madara Uchiha's conspiracy, isn't it? If this is really the case, the danger of those masked men has to be improved a lot. Thinking of this, Shajirching moved faster. In the original book, Orochimaru didn't even control Senju Hasuma. But now, someone can actually control him. No matter what, the danger of the masked man is indeed higher than in the original book. Moon step. Since what comes from the ground can't be done, let's hurry up from the sky. The sky is unobstructed and the distance is much shorter. Wooden Tree World is born. As soon as the first Hokage shoots, you will know if there is any. With one move covering a radius of several kilometers, the violent and sturdy tree roots, like dragons, have unimaginable power, and everyone can only scramble to avoid the persecution of Jirai. Then, they were isolated from each other, and Kushina and others, Zhu Li, instantly became an absolute target in the sea of trees. Jiraiya and others were completely stopped by the various generations of shadows who were reincarnated by the dirty earth. Even, fell into a disadvantage. After all, the strength of the 3 generations of Raikage is much more tyrannical than other shadows. No. Jiraiya, who had entered the immortal mode, was drinking wildly, his face full of anxiety, but he couldn't break through the blocking belt created by the 3 generations of Raikage and others, and could only watch Kushina be drowned in the sea of trees. The art of psychic outside Dao Golem. And just as this situation is getting worse and worse, the appearance of the masked man and the outsider golem is tantamount to making things worse. Originally, there was Kushina to protect him, and even though he looked unreliable, there was Ricky Rabbi, the 8-tailed person, so there shouldn't be anything wrong with Gaara. Yes, Kurabi is also in this team. The main purpose of this team is to protect Gaara from being captured and to repel the enemy. Therefore, with such a powerful ninja, even if they are facing the first Hokage, they still dodge with ease. However, all this changed completely after the appearance of the masked man. Roar. The power exerted by the outsider golem is even stronger than the last time. And the elusive ability of the masked man made Kushina and the 3 of them feel a sense of crisis all over their bodies. His arrival instantly rewrote the advantages of war. Chapter 759 Shajirching is here. Kushina was entangled by the masked man, and Kurabi had to deal with the attack of the original Hokage in order to protect Gaara while dealing with the outsider golem. But in just a few minutes, Kurabi was sucked out of most of the chakra. And Gaara, his sand attack was just overwhelmed by the first Hokage's wooden dug, and there is no hope of being able to struggle at all. Ah! Just like that, the Outlander golem that I saw shot a seal chain from its mouth, pierced through Gaara's body, and bound the one-tailed Shuhei in his body. Sealing technique, Magic 9 Dragon Seal. Seeing this, the masked man immediately formed a seal and performed the seal technique of peeling off the tailed beast. But peeling off a living person is more painful than cramping and peeling skin. I Love Luo suddenly let out a scream of pain, extremely terrifying. Kushina was anxious, but she was completely unable to escape from the entanglement of the masked man. The masked man is not weak. The wheel-eye illusion, the fire escape, and the inexplicable tricks that can ignore all attacks made Kushina feel a depressed urge to vomit blood. In all fairness, the masked man is not necessarily her opponent, if not for the ninjutsu who ignores the attack. But she can't get rid of this masked man. And Kurabi, it's even worse. It has also been caught by the original Hokage. Looking at Kurabi, who couldn't resist the first Hokage's wooden man technique even if he materialized into the 8 tails, Kushina felt the power of the first Hokage even more. This is really a strong, outrageous existence. It's just the end, my plan is about to succeed. Ha ha ha. It was a pleasant surprise that Yahweh was caught, but it was also expected by the masked man. Therefore, he unceremoniously manipulated the outsider golem and detained the 8 tails. Then, with the sealing technique, the Magic 9 Dragon Sealing Technique, he began to frantically devour the 8-tailed chakra. Time is passing minute by minute, and in the blink of an eye, 2 hours have passed. The masked man is out of breath and has many scars on his body. But the light in his eyes is getting more and more prosperous, because he has already succeeded more than half. Kushina looked anxious, but she was entangled by the original Hokage's Mudden clone and couldn't get out of it. The situation is really bad for them. Seeing the 8 tails, one tail is about to be pulled out, the chakra power is reduced wildly, the 2 people are about to die, and the masked man's plan is about to succeed. Kushina was shouting angrily, and Jirai was roaring. Oyemu was also desperate, and when Luo Sha was also anxious, an unimaginably huge thunder gun ripped through the air and cut off the seal chain released by the outsider golem. Who is it? Seeing that his plan was actually destroyed, the masked man roared in exasperation. The 8-tailed, one-tailed 70% chakra has already been recruited, and if he gives him another half an hour, he will be able to completely successfully strip the one-tailed, 8-tailed power. At that time, the strength of the resurrected outsider golem will reach unprecedented tyranny. But now, all this has been disrupted. It's okay, it looks like I'm not too late. It's really dangerous. The visitor actually stood in the air, and although he was breathing a little, he exuded an aura that was almost the same as that of Chinshozujian. Sha Zhiqing. Looking at the person who appeared in front of them and obstructed his plan, the masked man suddenly let out an extremely angry, shrill roar. Yes, the person who arrived suddenly is Sha Zhiqing. It's finally here. Seeing Sha Zhiqing, Jushinai couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief, although Sha Zhiqing has nothing to do with their Konoha now. But now, as a member of the coalition, he is indeed their most powerful help. Pharmacist Pocket, give me, manipulate Senju Hashirama to kill this guy. His existence is the biggest threat and resistance in my plan. The masked man communicated with the pharmacist in his heart. Understood. I also want to see who is more powerful than the god of ninja, this man who can make Orochimaru extremely scary. The pharmacist grinned and licked his lips, his eyes were all burning. Sister Kushina, take Gaara and Kurabi out of here quickly. Next, this is not a battle that you can intervene in. Sha Zhiqing fell to the ground, and seeing the murderous intent suddenly exuded from the body of the dirty soil Chinshozujian, his face suddenly became solemn. Wooden flower tree world is coming. Before Kushina could respond, Senju Hashima's attack came. In an instant, all directions turned into a terrifying sea of trees, with extremely sturdy roots rising from the ground, with the terrifying power of destroying mountains, strangling and whipping. Jiraiya waited for others to see this, and hurriedly retreated. All faces changed drastically. This attack has almost reached the upper limit of what they can deal with. They felt their bodies tensed involuntarily. The dried persimmon ghost shark looked at Chinsho Hashirama with infinite light in his eyes. Is this the existence standing at the pinnacle of the ninja world? It's really powerful and exciting. He could feel that the sky is not afraid of the earth, and even the tailed beast chakra dared to swallow the shark muscle, showing some hesitation for the first time. The chakra of Senju Hashimoto makes the shark muscle feel very dangerous. One blade stream Libo. Facing the super forest that wraps itself up, and the roots of the trees that are about to bloom when they are whipped. Shamuyang didn't dare to be careless, and he slashed out, with infinite thunder and sky-shattering sharp edges. See. As if the air had been split and disappeared, a huge sense of relaxation made Kushina and the others feel an unprecedented comfort. Boom. All the attacking Wood Dun's attacks were completely cut off, and Jirai also exclaimed and fell to the ground. Immediately, they felt an unprecedented pressure and fierceness hit their backs, causing their hairs to explode. Boom. The trees in a radius of several kilometers were completely cut off, and then turned into pieces of wood. Farther away, even the earth was shattered into terrifying rift valleys, and the mountains were cut with a bottomless wound, crumbling. The power of a sword is so terrifying. Hi. Jiraiya and others couldn't help but take a deep breath. Shajirqing's strength is really a bit too scary. His strength is even stronger than when he left Konoha village. Jiraiya's heart is even brighter. When Shajirqing left Konoha, Kendo was not so terrifying and fierce. Spirituality. Shajirqing quickly pressed the seal on the air, and with a bang, the wet pot forest psychic beast, the Black Jiao, came. Then the surveillance mission of the outsider golem and the masked man will be handed over to you. Don't let them take the opportunity to kill. Shajirqing instructed Yi, who is comparable in size to a sea king. Hey, don't worry, Lord Shajirqing, I know. Yi hey Isho, like skating, rushing towards the outsider golem. Chapter 760 Shajirqing vs Chinshujuma. Shish. One of Mudun's abilities is that it is endless. No, all the sturdy tree roots that were just cut off roared out like an angry dragon again, bursting the air, blurring the four directions, and killing Shajirqing. And, on the top of the bushes, huge flowers bloomed, releasing pollen with a powerful paralyzing effect. Shajirqing immediately swung a sword again, stirring up the roaring wind and waves, venting out, with terrifying destructive power. It cut off all the roots of the attacking tree, created a large ruin for several kilometers again, and blew the pollen out. Shamuyang also hurriedly exited the forest. It would be really bad to stay in it again. Even him, it is impossible to be immune to the powerful effects of this pollen. Wooden cutting technique. A seal formed between the 1,000 hand pillars, and a sharp thorn immediately appeared on the ground under Shajirqing's feet, wrapping it towards Shajirqing. Shajirqing can't help but feel a little scalp numb. This move can absorb the enemy's chakra and continue to grow. If it is penetrated into the body a little, it will be stabbed into a hedgehog from the inside out. Moreover, the stronger the caster's chakra, the stronger the power. With the amount of chakra between the 1,000-handed pillars, Shajirqing felt that the flesh and blood that he would be torn apart instantly was gone. Puff. Observation Haki urges, wields the long sword to tear apart the earth, and attacks with the supreme sharp edge. Wooden the art of cloth bags. As soon as Shajirqing got rid of the thorns, a row of huge palms burst out of the ground behind him, pressing the air to burst and shoot down, and the ground rumbled open. Shajirqing's eyes shot cold electricity, and he shouted, "Lay done furious thunder tiger." Roar. A colorful tiger with a height of more than 20 meters, roaring out, has the terrifying power of destroying everything, and even smashed all the big palms that could shake the mountains. Puff puff. It was at this moment that an accident happened again under Shajirqing's feet, and a dense and sharp thorn broke out again. In addition, a square flew out from the ground around Shajurching, and the thick iron steel of the water tank blasted the air out of the depression and rushed towards Shajurching, pushing Shajurching into a corner in an instant. All directions are attacked, and all retreats are blocked. Shajurching, you are dead. Ha ha ha, die. This time, I want to see how you hide. Even if you are the first person who dares to face the attack of Senju Hakuma and melee it, so what, in the face of absolute disparity, you must die. Seeing this scene, the masked man who was manipulating the outsider golem and fighting the knight fiercely roared. Be careful. Not good, run away. Jiraiya and the others have chills on their scalps and cracks in the canthus, but it's too late to help. I can only watch Shajurching be pierced by thorns into a hedgehog and die. PFF, this attack is just trying to stymie Lord Shajurching. You really don't know anything about the power of Lord Shajurching. Only he couldn't help sneering. His face didn't care, his eyes were full of admiration. The strength of that adult is unparalleled in the ancient times, even if it is Chinshozujian. At the moment when the night talk fell, Shajurching, who saw Shajurching, was as ethereal as the wind and danced in the extremely dense thorns. As light is nothing, Taoism is natural. In the midst of the fatal attack from Jiraiya and others, Shajurching avoided it smoothly, with no pressure at all on his face, and even he was still forming a seal. This golem. Jiraiya and others couldn't help but look at each other, and they all saw the shock in each other's eyes. Is this really something that humans can do? This kind of continuous reaction speed, even Minato can't match it. Jiraiya said in his heart. It's the guy who defeated the old man with one move, it's so powerful that it can't be viewed with normal thinking. Oyemu also felt a little dry in his mouth. PFF'd. With a swing of the knife, the earth trembled, and Jiraiya and the others only saw a cold light flashing past. Then, whether it was the gangmu that exploded away, or the terrifying thorns that were dense like hell, they were all torn apart. But Chinshozujian had already pulled out his long sword, and rushed towards Shajurching like lightning, and the air roared for it. I didn't intend to give Shajurching a little time to react. But close combat, this is Shajurching's strength. He slashed heavily on the long sword between Chinshozujian, without giving in at all. Bang! The sound of gold and iron resounded through the sky, harsh and painful. Bang! The ground under the two of them exploded, a crater of more than 10 meters. In the end, it is Senju. This power is simply more tyrannical than monsters. Shajurching only felt that it was not a person but a mountain that hit the flaming sword. This heavy force caused him to churn for a while, feeling a little exhausted. Very good, as expected of the god of ninjas, you are worthy of my full strength. Only you are worthy of my full strength. Shajurching drank wildly, his long hair flew up, his star eyes flashed with cold electricity, and his breath was completely released for the first time. Boom! In an instant, an oppression that made Jiraiya feel suffocated came, and the surrounding environment seemed to have lost its color, which was extremely amazing. Shajurching is like an unsheathed sword, with the utmost edge, no one can compete with it. Senju Hashirama, accept my power. Shajurching stared, and then, the eyes that were originally like black gems instantly turned into a pair of scarlet three-goose jade writing wheel eyes. The icy coldness of this writing wheel, the powerful oppression, even the pharmacist pocket who manipulated the Chinshozujian from a long distance, felt a chill inexplicably. Sharing eye. It's true, he actually has a wheel eye. Seeing the writing wheel in Shajurching's eyes, Jiraiya also exclaimed directly. He had heard Uchiha Itachi mention it before, but he was still reluctant to believe it. But now he believes it. Rankyaku, Tempest Kick. Shajurching raised his leg and drew a brazen sword wave, which surprised Chinshozujian, who was in front of him, and quickly used his Mudden clone to escape. And Shajurching turned around and stabbed with a sword. In front of his long sword, Chinshozujian just appeared. Facing Shajurching, who was already in front of him, Chinshozujian couldn't help being a little shocked. His actions were completely seen through by Shajurching. He immediately created a wooden avatar to block the sword, and the body stomped hard, hitting Xia Zhiqing's sword like a bomb. Bang! Bang! Boom! The mad sword smashed his feet, attacking Xia Zhiqing like a storm, making his three-hooked jade writing wheel eyes turn extremely fast, so as not to miss any moves and be forced into the disadvantage. On the body of Qin Shujujian, he felt the pressure that he had not seen for a long time.